Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. This is going to be a quick guide, 4-tick cycle, Verzik part 2. You should be watching this if you're learning Verzik or if you want to learn to do the advanced method, because I'm going to go over the shuffle technique, which is very beginner, and I'm going to go over the 2-step method, which is a little more advanced. After watching this video, you should be comfortable with part 2 Verzik, and you will carry your team, and they will love you, and you will never be not chosen to go on raids. Trust me. Alright, so don't stand under Verzik. That's the first lesson. Don't do like what that guy did. It hurts. It's not worth it. There's nothing to see under there. Trust me. Alright, so let's get started with the shuffle. These are the 4 ticks that will repeat throughout the part 2 fight. Let's just say it goes like this. Tick 1, 2, 3, 4, back to 1, 2, 3, 4, back to 1, so on and so forth. To avoid any confusion, what I'm going to say is where your character is located and what your character is doing during that tick. Okay, in the first tick, your character deals damage to Verzik and your character is in melee distance because you're whipping it. In the second tick, your character is away from Verzik. Your third tick, you're waiting, and your fourth tick, you're also waiting in safe distance. And that fourth tick is the tick that Verzik will check to see if anyone is in melee distance to bounce them. Okay, now you know what your character needs to do during each tick. How do you click and when do you click in order to make that happen? Very easy. So you know that if you want your character to attack Verzik in the first tick, you have to click on Verzik on the fourth tick, which is the tick prior to the first tick. So you know when the fourth tick happens because you hear this sound. So click when you hear the sound. When you hear that, click on Verzik because that sound happens in the fourth tick. So you click on Verzik when you hear that. In the first tick, which is the following tick, you'll be attacking her. Now, if in the second tick you want to be back in the safe zone, then you need to click back during the first tick. So I'm clicking right before the tick starts. If you're confused with that, go watch my pathing video. In the first 2 minutes, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Basically put, the cursor is on that white line, which is the beginning of the tick. Ideally, you're clicking right before that tick starts. That's it. Alright, so now we're going to go through this with a very slowed down video clip. Alright, so that's just the basic shuffle. Now we're going to slow things down. Click on Verzik during the fourth tick when you hear the sound. Alright, the next tick, this is the first tick. During this tick, you need to click back. The second tick, your character moves back. You wait. Third tick happens, you don't have to do anything. And the fourth tick, you have to click on Verzik. So that the following tick, you actually attack Verzik during the first tick. So before the fourth tick ends, you need to attack Verzik. Basically, when you hear the sound, attack Verzik. And click back right after. So, attack Verzik. Now the first tick begins, click back. Attack Verzik, click back. Attack Verzik, click back. It's that simple. And I can count the ticks as we're watching this. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, click back. 2, 3, click back. 2, 3, click back. It's that simple. And I'm just going to stop it there. If you don't get it, watch the video again. Okay, so now you're probably wondering how to time it right when you're starting the method. By the way, you should be praying range. I misclicked on the range prayer, but that doesn't matter right here. I'm walking around, and then when I feel comfortable and I feel like I can get the cycle right, when I hear the sound, I click on Verzik. So as long as you're walking around, you're avoiding any range hits. Alright, so when the crab spawn, when the spider spawn, all you gotta do is walk around and make sure you're continuously moving to avoid the range attacks, but also if you have to kill the purple, make sure you do it as soon as possible. It could be very helpful to freeze the crabs if there are many of them. Just make sure that when you're doing the animation of casting a barrage, that you're still moving around to avoid any bomb hits or any crab damage. As you can see here, the blue Nilicus is aggroed onto me and it's coming towards me. If it gets next to you, it explodes. You can have it explode and run away. So you're basically luring it to detonate and then you can run away. Not a very good thing to do if there's people around you though. So that wasn't very thoughtful on my part. So if you get bounced, all you gotta do is brew if you're low HP, you're stunned. So when you spam click on Verzik, the minute you get unfrozen, you will run right to her and you just happen to be in the correct 4-tick cycle. So it's safe to spam click on her. When Verzik hits 35%, you want to pray mage and start killing the crabs. Don't fully kill them. If they're low HP, leave them and get back on Verzik. So if you did leave them at low HP and you didn't kill them, what will happen is they'll still walk around. And then once you see them go into Verzik, get ready to stop attacking Verzik because the new ones are going to spawn. So just like that, they go into Verzik and then you get ready to attack the new ones. If you know exactly where they're spawning, then you can spam click the area and you'll get DPS as soon as possible. Alright, so now we're going to talk about a little more of an advanced concept. It's the two-step method, and this method is beneficial if you have a scythe or if you have a whip. It's kind of brain dead when you get really good at it, so it's very nice to do. And it's nice to know because if you know this method really well, you can easily identify the dangerous tick and you will pretty much never get bounced if you're always focused. So if there's one dangerous tick in the 4-tick cycle, the 3 other ticks, you are in melee distance right in front of Verzik. Pretty much means that you'll always reflect the electricity right back to Verzik when she throws it out. So your character is physically in melee distance for 3 ticks, and in the 4th tick, which is the dangerous tick, you are in the safe spot, which is 1 or 2 squares behind. All you need to know is when to click back on the safe tile. You do that right after the bomb explodes and you see green smoke. Another visual cue in part 3 is when Verzik throws the red magic attack and the blue 0 hit splat appears on whoever's tanking the damage. So that's when you know you need to click back, because that occurs during the 3rd tick. And if you're clicking back during the 3rd tick, your character will move back and it will be in a safe spot during the 4th tick. It's that simple. Right after you're in the safe spot, click back on Verzik and you will continue DPS. Right before I get into some footage, I just wanted to note that the 3 ticks that you're in melee distance, you could be doing melee damage. So if you have a whip, you could be doing this method and you can be hitting on either of those 3 ticks where you're in melee distance. With scythe, obviously you're going to do damage on the 1st tick, and then during the next 4-tick cycle, you'll be doing damage on the 2nd tick, and then during the next 4-tick cycle, you'll be doing damage on the 3rd tick. You don't even have to think about you doing DPS. If you're doing this method, any weapon will work and you'll always be safe. In other words, worry about pathing your character outside of Verzik's melee distance at the right time, and then click back on her after, and don't worry about your DPS, and it'll all work out in the end. Alright, let's get into some slowed down footage of the 2-step method. So she throws the bombs out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back when I see the green smoke. You can click back anywhere, honestly. You can even click on the mini-map very far away from where your character is. As long as you click back on Verzik the following tick, your character will do the method successfully. So the bomb is about to hit the ground, and I'm going to click when the green smoke appears. My character walks back. This tick now, which is the following tick where I clicked, this is the dangerous tick. Anyone in melee distance get bounced, and because I clicked back on Verzik right after, boom, I can go back in melee distance and my whip will hit any of those 3 ticks that I'm able to hit, and then I can click back. In this specific case, my whip is hitting in the 3rd safe tick. Another advantage to this method is that when the red Nalek get in your way and you don't want to misclick on them, you can click back a few tiles. As long as you click back on Verzik in the following tick, again, your character will continue doing the method. So you can do this method while running. As long as you have stamina, it shouldn't really matter. The reason why this method is really good is because it easily allows you to understand which tick is dangerous. You can see here that I walked backwards and forwards like a moonwalk sort of thing, and I did that because I knew that I needed to step back to avoid getting bounced. So basically my character arrived in melee distance during the 3rd safe tick, so I knew that the next tick after that would be dangerous, and I walked back right away. The scythe is a 5-tick weapon. This is a 4-tick cycle, so you're going to DPS 3 cycles, and then the 4th one your character is not going to do anything. Another great visual of when to click back is when she throws out electricity and the hit splat appears on the 1st person, similarly to how her magic auto attack works. One more thing I'd like to mention is that when you're going from Verzik to the red healing Nihilus, basically you can be on the very same 4-tick cycle. So if you get 3 hits on the Nihilus and you get back on Verzik on the same cycle, then you can keep going and get maximum DPS. This is not something you need to worry about if you're a beginner, but if you're a pro, then you should probably start to learn this. The final pro tip I want to give is doing DPS at the very start of the fight. So be ready, hover over Verzik. When the tooltip appears, you can actually activate tooltip in your RuneLite settings or whatever client that you're using. So it goes like this. When you're able to click on Verzik, that's the 2nd tick. Actually attacking Verzik is the 3rd tick. And during that 3rd tick, you click off so that you are in the safe zone for the following tick, which is the 4th tick. I think that's it for this video, guys. I didn't do too many fancy edits. I didn't do any title slide screens, nothing like that. Just straightforward information. Good luck on your raids. You can thank me by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, watching my boring progress videos, or you could buy me a Dwarven Stout and you could find me at the Rising Sun Inn. Good shit. I prefer Rin Boots, honestly.
This is the most expensive one.